There is a new UFC middleweight champion. His name, Khamzat Chimaev.
5-4. There you go. Game, set, match. And we have ourselves a new champion.
Khamzat Chimaev, the new middleweight champion at UFC 319 in Chicago.
Khamzat Chimaev, the favorite contender in the UFC world, has now been deemed the champion of the UFC 319 matchup, beating his opponent Dricus Du Plessis brutally in what can only be described as a bloody war. The Russian fighter gave it his all, taking down his South African opponent 10 times throughout the fight. In his true fashion, Khamzat stayed on top of Du Plessis for most of the rounds, sprinkling the match with a constant delivery of punches and kicks. In the end, Khamzat Chimaev proved himself as the best in the UFC world, winning by a unanimous decision of 50-44, 50-44, 50-44. As Ariel Helwani concluded, the statistics showed a total domination.
He beats Dricus Du Plessis in 5 rounds, unanimous decision, 50-44 on all 3 judges' scorecards. It goes the distance. And the best way to describe this fight, in my opinion, was domination.
Moreover, Khamzat Chimaev, along with winning the belt, won a whole new record of landing the most strikes during a UFC fight, over 500 in number. Along with that, he had 21 minutes and 40 seconds of control time, which is the second most ever in the UFC world. According to the Russian fighter, he never doubted himself despite the sea of criticism trying to drown him. He claimed that now the people can bear witness to his true power, having seen it firsthand.
Was working on him, so I had some cool time on that there. So just spoke with him, spoke with his coach, middle of the fight. Was happy.
What kind of things were you saying?
I said, good job, work harder, guys.
You've had that back position on a lot of guys and you'd be able to choke them out. Was Dricus doing anything right to defend it, or?
Just because I was sweating, I went under last 30 seconds, tried to finish him. So I heard my corner says 30 seconds, that means to go to meet him. So I tried, but make mistake.
Khamzat Chimaev landed 510 strikes, according to ESPN's Fight Center. 510 strikes in this 5-round fight. He threw 567. I'm no mathematician, but that's a pretty damn good ratio right there. 510 out of 567, that percentage has to be an all-time record. In addition to that, he landed 12 takedowns, 12 of 17.
Furthermore, discussing with the media post-fight, Dana White commented that throughout the fight, Dricus Du Plessis had to face the frustrating ordeal of being dominated by his opponent, getting punched in the head left and right. According to him, it is a soul-crushing moment for a former champion to see his title being taken away from him like that.
Listen, I don't know how hard they are, and I don't want to know how hard they are. Nobody wants to be in a crucifix getting punched in the head like that. It's got to be the most frustrating, suck the heart and soul right out of you type thing to happen. And just getting dominated on the ground the way that he did is no fun for anybody. I wouldn't say that, oh, he's getting pitted-patted striked. I mean, his face was pretty busted up. The knees that he was taking to the body and to the legs and the hips, and it's going to be a long ride home to South Africa.
Additionally, Ariel Helwani commented on the jaw-dropping win by Khamzat Chimaev, claiming that now is the time for Khamzat Chimaev as the champion of the UFC world. He claimed that there is no way Khamzat's dominance, brilliance, and strength can now go unnoticed. According to Ariel, this win by Khamzat Chimaev is a turning point for the fighter's life, as it begins his era to rule UFC.
How do you not respect that kind of brilliance? How do you not respect that kind of dominance? How do you not respect that kind of power? Khamzat Chimaev has it all, and now officially the Khamzat Chimaev era begins. We thought it was going to begin probably in late 2020, 2021 max. It took a little longer, but almost exactly 5 years after his UFC debut on Fight Island, that magical summer where he fought twice in the span of 2 days, he finally becomes UFC middleweight champion. What a freaking performance.
Moreover, Khamzat Chimaev claimed that for him, the fight was a walk in the park. He did not take it that seriously. According to the Russian fighter, DDP was just a human, so taking him down was not much of a deal. Although Khamzat did commend DDP's fighting prowess, claiming that he did a great job of trying to fend Khamzat off, but in the end, Khamzat was able to keep the South African in submission.
Like I said, like normal fights, I didn't take like this fight something so crazy thing. So he's a human like everyone else, so I knew I cannot take the guy down, control. I was surprised he didn't get his neck. So like Usman, I think he did that good job in the camp. So the guys did really good job. I usually get whatever I want, get in the ground, you know. So a lot of submission game. I did all 8 years, so every day, 5 days a week grappling, you know. So I think I'm the best grappler in the UFC. My striking is not bad as well, but my grappling is top level.
According to John Thompson, now that Khamzat Chimaev is the champion of the UFC 319 fight, he might be eyeing another opponent to go against. Now, who that opponent might be is based on who comes out as the dominant fighter in the Nasruddin Imava versus Caio Borralho fight. However, if that matchup turns out to be a bummer, John claimed that RDR may be the next big fighter to take on Chimaev.
And then I think he ends up fighting the winner of Imava versus Caio Borralho. That's who's next. Unless that fight ends up being a snoozer. If that fight ends up being a snoozer, you end up with RDR as the guy who's fighting against Chimaev. That fight interests me. I think. Look, I'm interested in watching the other fights. I'd love to see Caio Borralho or Imava fight him first, because they've both been kind of right there looming. I know RDR is the fresh new toy in the game.
Interestingly, Dricus Du Plessis did not hesitate in lauding Khamzat Chimaev, claiming that somehow the Russian fighter had a way of reading your future moves and knowing exactly how to tackle them. You know you have achieved greatness when even your opponent has to claim that you were the better man, and that is precisely what Khamzat achieved through his win. The man has incredible control on the top, Dricus had said. He's just like a blanket. I mean, it wasn't a matter of strength. He wasn't that physical. It's almost as if he knew what your next move was going to be. Du Plessis, who had failed to defend his middleweight title for the first time, went on to say, "At the end, I went for it, had the back." Du Plessis said, "I could almost taste that victory, but big ups to Chimaev. He beat me fair and square tonight. He was the better man." However, while Dricus Du Plessis felt defeated because of the loss of his title, Khamzat Chimaev claimed that he only cared about the money. He would do anything Dana White says, as long as there is money involved in the process. He might go for the 170-pound division, or even the 205-1, as long as he could get the title over there, along with the money.
I like you as a 70-pound champ and a 205-pound champ, but you weighed in underweight for this fight. So are you more likely to go to 170 or 205 if you were going to make that move?
I don't care, so whatever Dana says, so we go for that. Where is the money? I go for that, man. So I like money more.
Furthermore, Khamzat exposed the trick he used to become the middleweight champion, and it is not what most people expect it to be. According to the Russian fighter, you cannot become the champion before already believing that you are the champion. That is precisely the tactic Khamzat used to bag the title, believing in himself and his abilities as a fighter to take down Dricus Du Plessis.
From where you were in your UFC debut to becoming the champion?
I always knew I will become a champion. I had the feeling about that, so when you don't feel you're gonna become a champ, so you will become a champ, so you have to trust yourself.
While reacting to the fight, Luke Thomas expressed his frustration over the fact that Dricus was not able to scramble out of Khamzat's hold, claiming that the South African fighter does not have the wrestling abilities to move in such a way that could allow him to get released from his opponent's deathly grappling.
Now Dricus is starting to get frustrated. Yeah, dude, you haven't done. What were y'all working on in camp, brother? He can't scramble. He can't get his hips underneath him. He can't down block. He can't down block and circle. Like the way in which you move your feet and your hips all together like a wrestler would, he just doesn't have any of that. and it's not working. Like, he has nothing. He can't do anything.
Additionally, Long Island Luke came in with his reactions after the fight, claiming that while the entire UFC world was predicting Khamzat's takedown after 2 rounds, the reality was far from what was expected. In fact, Khamzat seemed to be as fresh as ever going into the 3rd round, while his opponent got taken down again and again. Luke even expressed his surprise over the 70% takedown rate that Khamzat managed to achieve throughout the fight.
Like everyone was saying all week, Khamzat got the first 2 rounds, and then it's Dricus's fight. And I think I said it late in the 2nd round. I said, guys, I don't think this is going to be Dricus's fight after this. Khamzat was way too fresh after 10 minutes. There's no way he's going to continue, or sorry, Dricus is going to just come back after that. I don't know. It was very underwhelming. I'm looking at the stats now. Khamzat took him down 12 times on 7 takedown attempts. 70% takedown percentage. I mean, unreal. Dricus did take him down once. I don't even honestly remember that. The significant strikes, by the way, not that crazy far apart. 37-13. Only 37 significant strikes for Khamzat is kind of crazy, but he did throw 567 total strikes.
On the other hand, while the world sings Khamzat Chimaev's praises and lauds the Russian fighter's skills, there are 2 fighters who could not help but express their hatred for Khamzat Chimaev, claiming that there is only one person who can beat the Russian monster, and that is them. These fighters are Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland, 2 fighters who have never shied away from expressing their dislike for Khamzat. Sean tweeted, "I'm probably the only one in the UFC that can out-grapple that little for 5 rounds. Well, looks like I gotta stack some W's to fight that little." Meanwhile, Paulo wrote, "Besides this, I'm glad 'cause I'm coming gourmet Chenchin." Interestingly, Khamzat was made aware of the plans of these 2 fighters after he won the big fight. However, the Russian fighter brushed their comments off, claiming that Sean Strickland is the type of fighter who lost against Dricus Du Plessis many times. So how could he claim to be able to beat the fighter who took down the man he could never win against? Khamzat even joked about the fact that because of him, Paulo and Sean got united.
Sean Strickland, your old friend, has been tweeting about you since the fight. He said that when you were in the gym together, he would actually out-wrestle you and be better than you in the wrestling over 4 rounds.
Bro, Dricus take him down many times, so how can he take me down, bro? Come on. This guy, I beat him everywhere and striking, but this guy just talk too much. So he's a funny guy. He's working with, what is his name? Buratino, or what is it?
Yeah, Paulo Costa.
Yeah, Paulo. I make them together.
Moreover, the best feeling for a fighter is when you are able to shut the mouths of the people who once doubted your abilities. Khamzat managed to achieve exactly that, as Demetrius Johnson was out of words trying to praise Dricus Du Plessis after the fight. Trying very hard to come up with at least some positive comments about the South African fighter, Johnson could not find any, claiming at last that the fighter got out-wrestled.
Oh, man. I think well-rounded. I think DDP's a better, not a better fighter, but I think DDP, it's hard to say, man. I think jiu-jitsu ability, I don't know, man. He's got out-wrestled, but great fight from Khamzat. He was able to just out-wrestle him, man.
Additionally, Khamzat Chimaev claimed in front of everyone that he does not want to submit to anyone, referencing the time Dricus Du Plessis had a guillotine on the fighter. According to Chimaev, it would be better for him to die before witnessing the day he has to submit and be defeated by someone.
I think Dricus tried a guillotine. I'm assuming there was never any danger.
Nah, bro, I hope I can die before the next somebody submit me there.
Okay.
Moreover, Bilal Muhammad did not hold back while calling out Dricus Du Plessis after the fight. He tweeted a statement congratulating the South African fighter for giving his best and fighting with all his power. However, he retracted that statement by claiming he was joking and that the fighter absolutely sucked throughout the match. Bilal wrote, "Shoot out to Dricus. You showed a lot of heart. You never gave up, just kidding. You sucked, that was 5-10-8s. What are your feelings about the win? Did you expect Khamzat to snatch the win so brutally from Dricus's hands? Or were you sure, just like DDP was, that the South African would be able to defeat Khamzat Chimaev? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our future updates.